Here I got a great question from Quora. Would it be legal to sell pet rocks, calling them pet stones, to avoid trademark violation with the pet rock trademark? My name is Andrei Mincov. I'm the founder of Trademark Factory, and in this series of videos, I answer questions just like this one about trademarks, about intellectual property, about brands, about entrepreneurship, about stuff that has to do with building a great brand. And here's my answer to this question. There's several parts to the answer to this question. The first part is whether you can sell something similar, basically stones with eyes, put in a container. And the second question, whether you call them something similar to pet rock. And believe it or not, these are different things. So with the trademark, and the owner of it still has an active trademark, they're still selling them. Again, believe it or not, some people may have thought that pet rocks were gone forever, but no, they're still renewing their trademark and they're still going after people who try to name their product similarly. So pet rock trademark is still very much alive. Naming your product anything similar to pet rock, pet stone, and pet really is the keyword here, would be a big problem from the trademark perspective, because if you think about it, so there's two words, and the combination of those two words make this a recognizable brand as silly as it is. And like I said, of the two words, the word pet is the most recognizable because that's what expresses the idea of, using a stone or a rock as a pet. And whereas coming up with synonyms to the word rock or stone doesn't help you at all, because you're still using, first of all, when they evaluate the two trademarks, whether one is confusingly similar to the other one, they always give more weight to the first word, to the first syllable, to the first letters, right? So changing stuff that happens after is given less weight. The short answer, can you name your product pet stone and get away with it? No, probably not. The second part of the question is, can you get away with having a similar business that offers essentially a stone in a box with glued on eyes and maybe a story? So that one is interesting because a trademark does not protect the product itself. You can't protect the function of the product by getting a trademark, and you can't get a trademark that protects the type of the product or the whole industry or the whole generic class of the product. So the trademark that is still very much active would not give them that protection. So the question is, can they get it through a patent? No, even if they had a patent, which I don't think they could have, they would have been long expired. Same idea with design patents. Patents don't live that long. Again, I don't think they ever had a patent, but even if they did, would have long expired because the patents are only 20 years after the filing date. Now, there's no trade secrets around it because it's all out there in the open. You can't copyright it because copyright doesn't protect ideas, doesn't protect concepts, doesn't protect methods. Copyright only protects expressions of ideas. So in theory, any particular stone with particular eyes, but because they did so many of them, there cannot be any copyright claims. So the other thing that you can think of maybe is if they could prove that everyone looks at the pet rock and their pet rock as the original pet rock as the source of the product, but that would be a really tough call to make, because really all it is just an idea. Yes, it was their idea, they had a good ride with it, and it's going to be somewhat somewhat difficult for them. If for whatever reason a bunch of people wanted to come up with with knockoff versions of pet rocks, it would be difficult for them to preserve the monopoly on being able to slap a couple of eyes on a rock. Having said that, just the whole idea of having a knockoff version of a pet rock is ridiculous. If you're looking at your potential customers, what you can't do is you can't make them think that they're getting the original version of the pet rock, because if you did that, that could constitute unfair competition, that could constitute trademark infringement, and that constitute a lot of bad things that you don't want to be part of. So you don't want to do marketing or anything really that makes people think that they might be buying the original pet rock, whereas what you're selling them is something else. And really the naming of the product is a big part of that same idea. So make sure if you end up doing this. Now, and one other thing to bear in mind, the owner of the original pet rock trademark has made quite a bit of money with it, and they're policing their right quite rigorously. So the real question you want to ask yourself is, even if you were right and they're wrong from the purely legal perspective, do you have the resources to defend yourself? Because if you don't, it's really not a good idea, because they are going to do whatever it takes to go after you. And even if they don't have a bulletproof case on the pure letter of law with their IP, they've got enough to file a lawsuit that wouldn't be thrown out. They've got enough to bury you with motions and appearances. And if you don't want to play that game, pick a different business, the one that you're going to be able to grow, the one that you're going to be able to build into something that's yours, the one that makes you enough money during enough time that you can sustain. So that will be my long answer to this question. And if you found it useful, make sure you subscribe, get notified whenever the next video goes live, because I answer questions like this all the time, not just your questions. There's also a bunch of other topics that I cover in this channel. If that's interesting to you, make sure you subscribe. And if you've got a brand you're thinking of trademarking, go to trademarkfactory.com and see how we can help you. And until then, I will see you in the next video.
Get it, trade.